I kind of like the people on my show. Obviously, I don't approve of everything they do, but I don't think they're lesser people than the rest of us. You know, everyone wants to be happy. They want to be happy. They're just not as, they weren't given the good luck in the gene pool of parents, maybe, or you know, they didn't get to go to college, or you know, they may not be that, in some cases, smart. Most cases, they don't have a lot of money. But they're not their language is different than what we use in polite society. But their stories aren't. And we all like to say, I hear so often, oh, those people, and you know, we use names like trash, like human beings can be trash. Hitler was trash, but otherwise human beings aren't trash. They sometimes do things that are wrong. But honestly, if you met after the show, they're just like everybody else. They want pictures. Jerry, what's a good restaurant to go to here when we were doing the show in Chicago or in Stanford? They're just really nice. I really like them. And so there's almost a part of me that wants to stick with them. You know, I don't need the job now. You know, it's not that. But I stick with them because it's I think in a free society with free media, they have to be on television too. Until our show, understand, our show is purely for entertainment purposes. It has no political agenda or social agenda. It's purely for entertainment. But there's a consequence of it. And I think one of the consequences of the show is until we came along, American television had been almost exclusively upper middle class white. In fact, if you were African American or some other group, you a minority, you had to be on one of the side networks, or you had to be a doctor living in the suburbs like Cosby. But all American television is upper middle class white, and whether it was Friends or Frasier or Seinfeld, you know, all these well scrubbed looking white kids living in beautiful you know, apartments. How the heck did they afford it? No one had a job. But they all, you know, and this was the view of America. And everyone was totally comfortable. And then all of a sudden, shows like ours came along. And it is almost as if we were offended that they were on television. It is just disingenuous to say that the people that are on our show, I never knew there were people like that. I mean, that's just not true. I can go to page 3 of I can go to any newspaper in America any day, and by the time I get to page 3, I've got 20 shows. So this idea that these people are different than the rest of us, or different than rich people, or different than famous people, is just not true. It's just that, you know, wealthy people dress better, and our language is better, and so it seems we're more polite, but we can be just as mean at times, just as dishonest, just as duplicitous. So I think there's a strong cultural statement to be say, you know what, part of American television ought to be the people you see on my show. Go get them. Persona I have because of that show is that I'm just this wild and crazy guy, and frankly, I'm pretty boring. I have the same friends I had when I was a kid, and I've kept them, and those are my friends. I don't know any people in Hollywood. I'm not part of an entertainment community. I have a wonderful family, and that's my entertainment. So no, I'm not, but it wouldn't sell the show. I mean, it's better to have this persona, I guess. So from the business, the people that do all the PR and everything, they're running crazy, you know, or I've become an adjective in the English language. When people, every article, you know, you're reading about politics, well, they're having a Jerry Springer moment, or Congress has gone Springer. Yeah.
Why do you think America's Got Talent has become so successful?
Because it's a manifestation of the American dream in show business terms. It's, you don't have to be rich, you don't have to be famous, you don't have to be living in Hollywood, you don't have to have a dad in the business. You could just be singing to your hairbrush in front of the mirror in your bedroom, and mom walks by and say, hey, that's pretty good, and all of a sudden you go to an audition and you've got a shot. And we like that. and I love it. It is an example of the democratization of entertainment, at least in America, perhaps elsewhere in the world, and whereby we have become the entertainment. That is why you have reality television today. Throughout history, it has always been, here sit the people, and up there are the entertainers, be they athletes, actors in a theater, musicians in a concert, watching a movie. It is always performers, and the audience sits around and watches, observes. Well, along came, in the 50s, I'd say, late 50s, early 60s, you started to have talk radio. But it wasn't political talk radio. It was where people would call in. And that really was the first whereby you would listen to these radio shows, and the entertainment really was the callers. You didn't care who the host was. It was that the host was dealing with the callers, and some were crazy, and some were funny, and some were irate. But it became a form of entertainment. And then technology took it further. Then we went from talk shows on radio to talk shows on television, and with Phil Donahue, and all of a sudden the people sitting in the audience asked the questions, and they became part of the entertainment. And then came the internet, and the kids started to go to the chat rooms, where instead of watching television at night, they talk among themselves, and they entertained themselves. And then, of course, now you get YouTube and Facebook and everything. And television has followed this now, recognizing that we enjoy watching ourselves. And so you have reality television. You have American Idol, where, wait a second, we don't have to have some executive say who the next star is going to be. We can be the stars. Now, a lot of this is misinformed judgment on talent, but it's us, and we entertain ourselves. And technology has made that possible. So the entertainment industry is total democracy now. You don't have a few people sitting in a room somewhere in Hollywood or New York and deciding you're the next star. And it's threatening the music industry. It's threatening the network television industry. People are making their own entertainment. And now with the computers, if it isn't there already, in a couple of years, we're all going to be watching whatever we want to watch of ourselves when we want to watch it. No one will be telling us what to